Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to Third Wave Trades. Today I got a update video for you guys. We're going to be going over a bunch of the mining stocks. I haven't done a video on them in a little bit, and the reason for that is I've kind of been waiting to see how Bitcoin plays out. If you guys saw my previous Bitcoin video that I posted, I am still pretty bullish on it. It was kind of like there were like two scenarios. It was either already beginning a third wave up, or it was still finishing a second wave retracement. I mean, there are other counts too, but those are the two counts that I'm kind of looking at, because I'm leaning more towards a bullish count. I'm feeling pretty bullish on Bitcoin, and as a consequence, a bunch of these mining stocks as well. So if you guys saw that video, then you guys know like where I stand, and if you guys haven't, just make sure you guys check that video out, because a lot of these stocks are going to hinge upon what Bitcoin does. All right, but I do want to do a update on Mara, ticker symbol MARA. I want to do an update on Riot, HIVE, and also CleanSpark, which I did not touch last time in my update, so I want to touch on that one as well, and kind of just go through what where they are in their wave count. I won't take macro counts. I'll just basically go from the December lows where they all have bounced and appear to be in the first wave of a bullish uptrend. All right, so that's what we're going to take a look at, yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. So before we get started, guys, quick disclaimer: I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence and research, and/or consult with a financial advisor before making any trading or investment decisions. Next, guys, if you could, please hit the like button if you find this content helpful in any way, and please subscribe to the channel for more Elliott wave breakdowns on your favorite cryptos, commodities, and stocks. All right, guys, so without further ado, let's just get straight into it. I'm going to start off with Mara, which is like one of our favorites. It was the first video that I posted, and in that video, I basically said that I think Mara is going to the moon. I still feel that way. I am still very bullish on Mara and a bunch of these other mining stocks as well. But let's start off with Mara. You can see over here, I basically have the chart drawn up, and if you guys remember, just a quick recap from what we said in our last video, we were basically giving three possible scenarios. So scenario one was that we were in this impulsive move where we had a first wave, second wave, and then we were looking for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to play out. I said at the time that basically the invalidation of that would be going below this line over here, and that if we didn't, even if we came somewhere over here, we could still bounce. That would still be possible. That would be forming a third wave here, get a fourth, and then a fifth. Well, we broke that, so that is no longer a possibility. The other two possibilities were that we were in a 1, 2, 1, 2 situation, and then we would get a bullish 3, 4, 5. So it was an even more bullish scenario than the previous one, but I wasn't favoring that count. The last count that I had was essentially a leading diagonal, where I said we would get a 1, 2, 3, a 4, and then a 5, where the 4 overlaps the territory of the first wave. And that was the count that I was favoring, and that's still the count that I'm favoring. I think that is more likely what is going on over here. So that's the count that I'm going to be looking at today. Could this still be a 1, 2, 1, 2? It's possible. I don't like it as much, because if this was a 1, 2, I really don't like this as a second wave, A, B, C. It's not something that's like typical, right? It's not really one of the patterns that we would prefer to see in a second wave. So I'm kind of holding off on that one. I do think that what is playing out is more likely a leading diagonal. Now, if you guys saw my last video on Shopify, I kind of give a brief recap of the rules of a leading diagonal. In that case, we were in an expanding leading diagonal, and you know, we kind of talked about how the subwave can be broken up into 3 waves. So if you guys haven't seen that video, I really urge you guys to go take a look at that video, because there's a brief section in there where I go over the rules of the leading diagonal. And I just want to point out that, you know, we took Shopify as a expanding leading diagonal with the chance that it was going to have a very strong 5th wave, because that's what leading diagonals do, and that we would hit a minimum target of $55. And that is exactly what it did. It actually broke past that. It hit $59, $60. So we were spot on with that call out, guys. So I really urge you guys to go take a look at that. But bringing it back to over here, we look like we are in a leading diagonal. Over here, there's 2 possibilities. There's the possibility that we are in a contracting leading diagonal, right, which is the opposite of an expanding one. The expanding one, you're basically going from a narrower opening to a wider close, whereas with a contracting diagonal, it's the opposite. You're going from a wider opening to a narrower close. All right, so right now I think we can take it as a contracting diagonal. In other words, I believe that this 4th wave could be done. It can definitely be counted as done. Isn't necessarily the case that it is done, however, right? So it's kind of just something that we're gonna have to watch how it plays out. But essentially, just to recap, we had 5 waves up here. That made our 1st wave. We had a 3 wave count down here. Made our 2nd wave. I like to take this as a 3 wave count over here for our 3rd. And then we were in the middle of this count in our last video, and it looks like it could be considered complete as a 3 wave move for our 4th wave, in which case we would already be starting our 5th wave, which can either go up in 3 waves or it can go up in 5 waves. All right, and the target, guys, is going to be at least this 3rd wave, right? So this 3rd wave high was around $12.80. So I would be expecting this to take out $12.80. Right? It can go past that. It can go as high as this channel. It could even overtake this channel. You know, there could be some throw over, or there, you know, it could pass it. It could undershoot it, or it could overshoot it. But well, you know, that's kind of just something that we have to monitor as the play is going on to see if there's still signs of strength. But at the very least, we want to see this $12.80, which I do think we're going to see play out, because I do believe that this is in fact a leading diagonal. So for me, the only question is whether or not this 4th wave is done or not. If the 4th wave is done, like I said, which it really could be, because we could count this as 3 waves, then we're in a leading contracting diagonal, and we are already in the move up. So look to see 1280 soon. Now, on the chance that this 4th wave is not complete, then essentially what we're looking for is just one more wave down, and the point of invalidation for it would be this 2nd wave low, right? So it can come as far as, you know, down here like $5.20 something, as long as it does not cross this point of invalidation. If once it crosses this wave too low, then we can't say that we're in an expanding diagonal anymore. But up until that point, you know, this could come all the way down here, and that would be our 4th wave, right? And then we would see the channel would be an expanding diagonal, right? And that would be our 4th wave, and then from there we would look to see a higher rally up to this, to at a minimum of $12.80, which would be our 3rd wave. So this actually provides for much more of a bullish move. If we were to pull back over here and get in at this 4th wave, you know, we could ride this entire wave up. But then again, like I said, if this is already complete and then this is what we're looking at, we're already in the move, and in order to not miss out on this, you may want to be invested in it already and possibly average down if this move does happen. It's kind of all really depends on you and your trading style. um, it's just something that you guys have to keep an eye on, and get in at the right entry. We could probably say if it breaks below this point, which is about $8.50, that we are basically in an expanding diagonal. So we could expect a bounce somewhere around here. We could look for key levels. We could look for bullish candle chart patterns and things like that to expect a bounce. Something like like a wick, a strong wick move or whatever on the daily. But essentially, once we get that bounce, we're either going long from here, or we're waiting for this to play out, and then we're gonna go long from here, and this is our target. All right. Again, with the possibility that it could go higher. All right. So that's basically what we're watching for. Ultimately, like I said, still very bullish. My personal target, I do see this possibly going to like $15. So I don't think that is done yet. And now, what would that mean? Like even more long term, then that would complete an entire 5-wave sequence, right? So then we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be our leading diagonal, right? Or if it's an expanded, then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be our first wave. And then from there, essentially at that point, then we're looking for a 3-wave pullback to be a second wave. And then this is where we will really see the explosive move. All right. So for now, there's this upside that we're looking for, but ultimately this is going to be the big move for Mara, Riot, and all these mining stocks. And we'll see. We'll keep a track of it and monitor it, how it plays out with Bitcoin. All right, guys. So that's Mara, and I'm gonna go over the other stocks as well, because they're all basically doing a very similar pattern. All right, so now if I pull up Riot's chart, you guys can see very similar to Mara. We have what looks like a leading diagonal forming, but as of right now, this can actually be more impulsive than Mara, and the reason is, well, there's two. We could take this as a first wave. All right, so this is Riot now that we're talking about, guys. So this could be a first wave, second wave like we had, and this being a third wave. Now, as of right now, this hasn't come lower than the first wave. So technically, that's not a leading diagonal. We would need the fourth wave to be lower or within the territory of the first wave to consider it a leading diagonal, whether contracting or expanding. If this were to rally up from here, this would just be a 5-wave impulsive move. And, that's actually a stronger or more bullish move count than Mara is at the moment. But I don't think that that's what's playing out. And the reason is for the sub-wave count of Riot, right? So if we look at these waves that I have drawn up, we can see that this really looks like a 3-wave move, right? Automatically, it can't be an impulsive move if the first wave is made up of 3 waves, because an impulsive move has 5 waves in it. So the fact that has 3 waves, the second wave has 3 waves, even this third wave looks more like a 3-wave move to me than a 5-wave move. And now this fourth wave to me look like it's forming a 3-wave move as well, because what it looks like is that this is a wave A, this is some sort of triangle forming over here, and I do anticipate a break to the downside of this triangle to make a C wave. And if we do get that C wave, I anticipate it coming lower than this first wave, which would basically put us in the expanding diagonal. So I wouldn't go long with Riot just yet. From what it looks like to me, based off the sub waves, is that we are going to get a C wave down. I could be wrong, guys. It could just bounce from here, and then I'll have to take a closer look at the sub wave count. But to me, just based off of like, you know, my eye test and just my experience looking at you know, some of these wave counts, and also given the fact that Mara and the others are playing out in an expanding or contracting leading diagonal, it makes me think that Riot is not going to be the sole mining stock that is making a more impulsive move. They could have better fundamentals or things like that. I really don't know. I do know that Riot and Mara are both heavily shorted. I think Riot is more shorted than Mara. So maybe there's something over there that will, you know, shorts will end up covering, and it'll cause a more impulsive move on Riot. I don't know. But what I can see is 3 waves in wave 1, 3 waves in wave 2, 3 waves in wave 3, and what appears to be 3 waves in wave 4, with the third wave about to come. So I think more downside, and as long as it's above this second wave, then we will get this expanding diagonal. And from here, guys, wherever I see the bounce on this, what I think is the low of this fourth wave, that's where I'm looking to go long, because anything above this second wave, if we get down over here, we're looking for upside of this move right here. Again, we're looking to take out, or at least to touch, this third wave, right? So expanding diagonals really provide a lot of room for an upside when you can catch that fifth wave. I know the channel is called Third Wave Trades, and that's because ideally we like to trade third waves because they're the most impulsive moves. But in the case of a expanding diagonal, you really want to get in on those fifth waves, just like you guys saw in the case with Shopify. Those fifth waves could really push. So that's what I'll be looking for, guys. With Riot, I think we will get a C wave down. I think the fourth wave will come lower than the first, and we could bounce somewhere in this region, right, between this first wave and the second wave, and wherever that bounce is, that's really where we go long to play this move for the upside around $14.50, and most likely we will overshoot that and come somewhere higher. All right, so that's what I'll be looking for. All right, the next one is CleanSpark, CLSK, and you know, this one also kind of like Riot. You can't necessarily, there's a couple ways that you could look at it. We could say that this is a wave 1, 2, this whole thing is the large 3, we're getting a fourth, and then we're going to get a fifth in an expanding diagonal. But there's also the case could also be made that this is a 1, 2, and we're getting a third wave playing out over here, which could be made up of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll get a fourth, and then we'll get a fifth wave. So that's a more impulsive count. I think right now I would actually probably go with the leading expanding diagonal on this one as well, just because that's what's playing out with the others, and I can't see why this would diverge from the rest of the pack, especially since they're all following the same source, which is Bitcoin. So I would be inclined to take this as an expanding leading diagonal playing out as well, right? So you get a 5 wave move over here for our first wave, a 3 wave move to the downside for our second wave, a 3 wave move up for our third wave, and this looks like a fourth wave is still playing out, right? Which allows for some for a bearish move on Bitcoin, because I do think that we may get one more retracement on Bitcoin, one more move down before Bitcoin actually breaks above that 31K. So I do think we can get this move down over here as long as we stay above this point of invalidation, which is the second wave. Wherever this fourth wave ends, same like Riot, that's where we're looking to go long, right? And then for CleanSpark, the level that we would be looking for is roughly $5.20. So if you could get in between $3.12 and $2, you know, you could play this move up over here for a safe target of $5.20. All right, again, with the possibility that it will go higher, but it cannot come lower if this is in fact an expanding leading diagonal. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well. And then the last two guys is HUT and Hive, and they're both very similar, playing out. I won't necessarily do the wave count, but again, you guys can sort of see what's developing here. We have a first wave up, looks like in 3 waves, second wave down in 3 waves, and it looks like this is possibly a third wave playing out, and then we get a fourth and a fifth, all in this leading. Whether it's going to be a contracting or an expanding diagonal, that kind of remains to be seen. All right, and the same thing with Hive as well. All right, so Hive looks very similar to HUT. 3 waves up, 3 waves down. So we're expecting this to be another 3 waves up, 3 waves down, and 3 waves up. All right, so I'll do fuller analysis on those ones, guys, but I don't think we really need to at the moment because, like I said, they're all playing out very similarly. You guys could draw out the wave count for yourselves and see that this is kind of like what we're getting right here. All right, so that's really it, guys. I just wanted to give you guys that update, and the reason why I feel pretty strong about this is very similar to the move with Shopify, right? It was an expanding diagonal that was playing out, and you guys saw how that turned out. And I think there's a reason, I think there's like probably a larger macroeconomic reason as to why these things are playing out, and we could get into the psychology of how these waves work and whatnot. But essentially what it tells me, right, with these motive waves that aren't as impulsive is that there's still some hesitation as to whether or not the downtrend is over and we're starting this larger move upside, right? If there was more confidence in the market, then you would probably see sharper moves going up. But the fact that all of these like different stocks and things are basically playing out in these kind of like diagonal moves means that the downside is still strong, right? It's not as impulsive because there's still some doubt. We're coming off of like these large downtrends in the market, so there's still psychologically there's still some doubt in the minds of buyers and sellers as to which way this is going to play out and which way is going to win. For me, I do think that we have more upside coming, so that's the count that I'm sticking with for now. But I'll go into more details about all of that later. And like I know I'm a little bit behind on it, but I am adding a tutorial on the Elliott wave theory, and I'm doing it in a series. So I'm still working on that, guys. I'm trying to make it really clear and something that you guys can really take a lot away from. So it's taking me a little bit more time, but I will be coming out with that soon, covering everything from impulse waves, motive waves, different types of corrections, the psychology behind the waves, Fibonacci, like retracement levels, expansions, all that. So I'm trying to cover everything within that series. So if you guys are interested in it, please let me know in the comments, like that you are, so that I know to really put more into it. All right. But other than that, guys, for these mining stocks, I know there's a lot of people who are watching them. I know there's a lot of people who are watching them because of crypto and because of Bitcoin, and then just other people who are into them for what they provide themselves as individual stocks. So I am bullish on them, guys. I do think that the wave count shows that we have a lot more upside coming, obviously with some retracements and stuff thrown in between. But if we can time it right, there's a lot of good trades to be made. All right, guys, so that's all I have for today. If you found the content helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I will definitely be back with more. Peace.